The massive Thal-Drakian dreadnought materialized at the edge of the Kuiper Belt, its sleek obsidian hull absorbing what little sunlight reached the outer limits of the solar system. Behind it, a swarm of smaller vessels emerged from hyperspace, their synchronized arrival creating a ripple of gravitational distortions that sent nearby comets tumbling off course. On the bridge of the flagship, High Commander Zalthar surveyed the holographic display of the system before him. His elongated fingers danced across the control panel, zooming in on the third planet from the unremarkable yellow star. Scans indicate a civilization on the inner planets, Exalted One, reported his second-in-command, Krinvar. Primitive structures in orbit and on several moons and planetoids. Zalthar's multifaceted eyes narrowed. Threat assessment. Negligible, Krinvar replied with a dismissive gesture. Their technology appears to be barely beyond fossil fuel propulsion. No energy signatures indicating any weapons of concern. The High Commander nodded, his crest of iridescent feathers rippling with satisfaction. Excellent. This system will serve our purposes well. The Velnari will never think to look for us here, hiding among such insignificant beings. As the Thal-Drakian fleet began its advance into the solar system, alarms blared in the control room of the Kuiper Belt Deep Space Monitoring Station. Lieutenant Commander Nolan Graves' eyes widened as he processed the incoming data. "This can't be right," he muttered, recalibrating the sensors. But the readings remained unchanged. A massive fleet of unknown origin had just appeared out of nowhere, and it was heading straight for the inner planets. Graves's fingers flew across the holographic interface, initiating the station's quantum entanglement communicator. "Control, this is Kuiper Station. We have a code black. I repeat, code black. Multiple unknown vessels have entered the system. They're big, they're fast, and they're headed our way." On Earth, in the subterranean command center of the United Earth Defense Force, UEDF, General Dorian Vance received the transmission. His face remained impassive, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of concern. "Sound the alert," he ordered, his voice calm but authoritative. "I want all planetary defense grids online and our stealth fleet ready for deployment. And get me a secure line to the Galactic Council. We may need to call in our markers." As the UEDF sprang into action, the Thal-Drakian fleet reached the orbit of Neptune. The massive gas giant's powerful magnetic field seemed to have no effect on the alien ships as they passed by, their propulsion systems manipulating gravity itself to navigate the complex planetary system with ease. On Triton, Neptune's largest moon, Dr. Zoe Morales and her team of xenogeologists watched in awe as the alien armada approached. Their research station, hidden beneath the moon's icy crust, had been studying the extreme conditions of the outer solar system for years. Now they found themselves on the front lines of a potential alien incursion. "Are you seeing this?" Zoe breathed, her eyes glued to the high-resolution feed from their orbital satellites. The alien ships were like nothing she had ever seen, their design seeming to defy the very laws of physics. Her colleague, Dr. Asher Cole, nodded grimly. "I'm recording everything. If these aliens turn out to be hostile, Earth will need all the intel we can provide." As the Thal-Drakian fleet passed Neptune, they paid no heed to the human outpost on Triton. To them, it was nothing more than a primitive scientific station, barely worth noticing. On the bridge of the Thal-Drakian flagship, Krinvar reported, "Exalted One, we've detected a small structure on the moon of the blue gas giant. Shall we eliminate it?" Zalthar waved a dismissive hand. "Don't waste our energy. These primitives pose no threat. Focus on finding us a suitable hiding spot in this system." As the alien armada continued its advance, the human response kicked into high gear. In the Armstrong lunar base, Colonel Daniel Zane oversaw the activation of the moon's hidden defense grid. "I want every Spectre-class stealth fighter prepped and ready for launch," he barked, his voice echoing through the base's cavernous hangar. "And make sure the stellar ward is at full power. If these aliens decide to take a closer look at us, I want them to see nothing but a barren rock." Across the solar system, similar scenes played out on every human outpost and colony. Hey there, hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you do, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel to grow and reach more people. Now let's find out what comes next. On Mars, Governor Alina Sokolov initiated emergency protocols, activating the planet's network of underground cities and defense installations. In the asteroid belt, mining operations transformed into military outposts, their equipment repurposed for defense and surveillance. As the Thaldrakian fleet approached Jupiter, they encountered their first sign that this solar system might not be as primitive as they initially thought. A series of sleek black satellites orbiting the gas giant suddenly vanished from their sensors. Curious, Zalthar mused, leaning forward in his command chair. It seems these humans might have some rudimentary cloaking technology. No matter. It's still far too primitive to pose any real threat. Little did the Thaldrakians know that those disappeared satellites were now transmitting real-time data on the alien fleet's composition, weapons, and shield frequencies directly to UEDF headquarters on Earth. In the war room beneath Geneva, General Vance and his team analyzed the incoming data. Their tech is advanced, he noted, his eyes scanning the holographic displays, but not insurmountable. We've dealt with worse during the Andromedan incursion. His second-in-command, Admiral Douglas Cameron, nodded in agreement. Their arrogance will be their downfall. They clearly haven't detected our more advanced installations. We should strike now, while we have the element of surprise. Vance shook his head. Not yet. Let's see what they're here for first. If they're just passing through, we might avoid unnecessary bloodshed. But make no mistake, we'll be ready if they try anything. As the Thaldrakian fleet entered the asteroid belt, they encountered their first real obstacle. The dense field of rocky bodies posed a navigational challenge, even for their advanced ships. Exalted 1, Krinvar reported, our sensors are detecting unusual movements in the asteroid field. Some of the larger bodies appear to be moving against their orbital paths. Zalthar's eyes narrowed. Impossible. The primitives couldn't possibly have the technology to manipulate celestial bodies of that size. But the High Commander was wrong. Deep within Ceres, the largest object in the asteroid belt, Chief Engineer Victor Lau and his team were doing exactly that. Using a network of gravity manipulators, they were subtly altering the orbits of key asteroids, creating a constantly shifting maze that the alien fleet would have to navigate. Keep it random, Lau instructed his team, his fingers dancing across the holographic controls. We want them to think it's natural turbulence in the field. The longer we can delay them, the more time Earth has to prepare. As the Thaldrakian fleet carefully picked its way through the asteroid belt, the humans' hidden preparations continued. On Venus, beneath the planet's thick acidic clouds, Dr. Talia Morozov and her team worked feverishly in a secret facility. The gravitational data we're receiving from the alien fleet is revolutionary, Talia exclaimed, her eyes alight with scientific curiosity despite the dire situation. If we can reverse engineer their propulsion systems, we could make a quantum leap in our own technology. Her colleague, Dr. Ahmed Hassan, looked up from his own calculations. Assuming we survive this encounter, you mean? Have you made any progress on the deflector shield modifications? Talia nodded, pulling up a complex diagram on her holoscene. I think I've found a way to attune our shields to their weapons frequencies. If I'm right, we should be able to withstand their firepower long enough to strike back. Meanwhile, in the Jovian system, the Thaldrakian fleet had finally found what they were looking for. The complex network of moons and magnetic fields around Jupiter provided the perfect cover for their massive ships. We'll conceal the bulk of our fleet within the ring system of the gas giant, Zalthar declared. The electromagnetic interference will mask our energy signatures. The Velnari will never find us here. As the alien ships began to maneuver into position, they remained oblivious to the network of stealth satellites and hidden bases peppered throughout Jupiter's moons. On Ganymede, Europa, and Callisto, human observers watched and waited, gathering crucial intelligence on the invaders' every move. Back on Earth, in the halls of power, heated debates raged over how to respond to the alien presence. In an emergency session of the United Earth government, representatives from every nation argued strategy and ethics. President Caroline Ward stood at the podium, her voice cutting through the chaos. We cannot rush to conflict, she declared, but neither can we stand idly by while an unknown force occupies our solar system. We must approach this situation with caution, strength, and above all, unity. As the political machine ground into action, The military preparations continued unabated. In hidden shipyards throughout the asteroid belt and beneath the surfaces of Mars and Venus, advanced warships were being readied for potential combat. These vessels, equipped with technology reverse-engineered from previous alien encounters, represented the pinnacle of human military achievement. Admiral Douglas Cameron oversaw the deployment from his command ship, concealed in a camouflage dock on Phobos. "All stealth cruisers, report in," he ordered, his voice calm but tinged with anticipation. One by one, the captains of Earth's most advanced warships signaled their readiness. These ships, invisible to all but the most advanced sensors, were humanity's ace in the hole. If diplomacy failed, they would be the tip of the spear in humanity's defense. As the Thaldrakian fleet settled into their hiding spots around Jupiter, they remained blissfully unaware of the extensive human presence throughout the solar system. Their scans, focused on finding signs of primitive technology, had missed the carefully concealed evidence of a far more advanced civilization. High Commander Zalthar reclined in his command chair, a satisfied smile playing across his alien features. "Send word to the homeworld," he instructed Krinvar. "Tell them we've found the perfect hiding spot. These primitive humans will never even know we're here." Little did Zalthar know, but every word of that transmission was intercepted by human listening posts scattered throughout the outer solar system. In the UEDF headquarters, General Vance allowed himself a small, grim smile as he read the decrypted message. "So, they think they can use our home as their personal hiding spot," he mused. "Well, we'll just have to show them how wrong they are." As the Thaldrakian fleet settled into their positions around Jupiter, a new threat emerged from the depths of space. The quantum entanglement communicator in the UEDF headquarters chirped urgently, its display flickering to life with a priority message from the outer system sensors. General Vance's eyes widened as he read the report. "Another fleet approaching," he announced to the war room, his voice tight with tension. "Signature matches, known Velnari configurations. ETA to system entry, 6 hours." Admiral Cameron leaned over the holographic display, his brow furrowed. "The Velnari? Here? This can't be a coincidence." "Agreed," Vance nodded. "It seems our unwelcome guests have brought their war to our doorstep. Initiate Protocol Omega. I want every ship, every weapon, every soldier ready for potential engagement." As the orders went out, the solar system erupted into controlled chaos. On Mars, Governor Sokolov oversaw the activation of the planet's subterranean defense grid. Miles beneath the red planet's surface, massive particle accelerators hummed to life, ready to unleash devastating energy beams if needed. In the asteroid belt, Chief Engineer Lau's team worked feverishly to expand their gravity manipulation network. "We need to be ready to create a navigational nightmare for both fleets if it comes to that," Lau instructed, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. On Venus, Dr. Morozov and her team put the finishing touches on their modified deflector shields. "If this works," she explained to Dr. Hassan, "we'll be able to analyze their weapons in real time and adapt our defenses on the fly." As the hours ticked by, tension mounted throughout the system. In the Jovian moons, human observers watched as the Thaldrakian fleet stirred, clearly aware of the approaching Velnari armada. On the bridge of the Thaldrakian flagship, High Commander Zalthar snarled in frustration. "How did they find us so quickly? Krinvar, ready the fleet. We'll crush these Velnari vermin before they can report our position." As the Thaldrakian ships began to move out from their hiding spots among Jupiter's moons, they remained oblivious to the human stealth satellites tracking their every move. Each shift in formation, each power surge in their weapon systems, was meticulously recorded and analyzed by UEDF tacticians. The Velnari fleet arrived with a flash of exotic particles, their sleek, crystalline ships gleaming in the pale light of the distant sun. Unlike the Thaldrakians, who had ignored the human presence, the Velnari immediately began scanning the system intensively. On the Velnari command ship, Fleet Admiral Kalzor studied the sensor readings with her 4 eyes narrowed in concentration. "Interesting," she murmured. "This system is more developed than our intel suggested. These humans bear watching." But before the Velnari could investigate further, the Thaldrakian fleet launched their attack. Brilliant beams of energy lanced out across space, slamming into the Velnari shields with earth-shattering force. The battle that ensued was like nothing humanity had ever witnessed. The two alien armadas clashed in a dazzling display of advanced technology and tactical prowess. Weapons that distorted the very fabric of space-time were unleashed, creating localized gravity wells that crushed unfortunate ships caught in their pull. From their hidden observation posts throughout the solar system, humans watched in awe and terror. On Titan, xenobiologist Dr. Zoe Morales and her team frantically recorded and analyzed the alien combat tactics. Their maneuvers, she breathed. They're operating on a level of spatial awareness we've only theorized about. As the battle raged, it began to spill outward from the Jovian system. A group of Thaldrakian cruisers, pursued by Velnari interceptors, veered dangerously close to Mars. Energy weapons flashed, and suddenly, one of the massive environmental regulators on the Martian surface erupted in a ball of plasma. Governor Sokolov's voice crackled over the emergency channels, tight with controlled panic. "We've lost Dome 17. Thousands of colonists. Gone in an instant." The destruction wasn't limited to Mars. In the asteroid belt, mining stations and research outposts found themselves caught in the crossfire. The space around Ceres became a debris field of shattered rock and twisted metal, the remains of both human installations and alien warships. Back on Earth, President Ward addressed an emergency session of the United Earth government. "We cannot stand idly by while our solar system becomes a battleground for alien wars," she declared, her voice resonating with resolve. "But neither can we rush headlong into a conflict we don't fully understand. We must be strategic, and above all, we must protect our people." In orbit around Neptune, the Deep Space Research Station Magellan found itself suddenly on the front lines as a detachment of Velnari ships used the planet's gravity to slingshot themselves back towards the main battle. The station's commander, Colonel Samuel Mansour, made a split-second decision that would change the course of the conflict. "Activate the Spectre drive," he ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos erupting around him. The massive station shimmered and vanished from sight, its revolutionary cloaking technology hiding it from the alien sensors. As Magellan faded from view, its powerful sensors remained active, gathering crucial data on both alien fleets. This information, transmitted back to Earth via quantum entanglement, would prove invaluable in the coming hours. The battle continued to escalate, with both sides unleashing ever more powerful weapons. A Thaldrakian dreadnought fired what appeared to be a miniature black hole, its gravitational pull tearing 3 Velnari cruisers apart. In retaliation, the Velnari unleashed a swarm of self-replicating nanobots that began to eat through the Thaldrakian ships' hulls. As the conflict intensified, more human outposts and installations found themselves in danger. The research base on Europa, buried beneath the moon's icy crust, detected massive energy spikes approaching their location. Dr. Asher Cole, the base's lead researcher, didn't hesitate. "Initiate emergency protocols," he commanded. "Activate the phase shifters." In a feat of engineering that would have seemed like magic mere decades ago, the entire Europa base shifted slightly out of phase with normal space-time. The approaching energy weapons passed harmlessly through the base's location, their sensors registering nothing but ice. However, not all human outposts were so fortunate. A small mining operation on one of Saturn's lesser moons found itself suddenly engulfed in a spatial distortion caused by an alien weapon misfire. When the distortion cleared, the entire moon, and everyone on it, was simply gone, as if it had never existed. The loss of life was mounting, and the damage to human infrastructure in the outer system was severe. In the UEDF war room, General Vance watched the casualty reports scroll by, his face a mask of grim determination. "We've lost over 10,000 civilians," Admiral Cameron reported, his voice heavy. "The Galileo space elevator is offline, Dome 17 on Mars is gone, and we've got reports of severe damage to our mining operations in the asteroid belt." Vance nodded slowly, his mind racing through potential strategies. "What about our military assets?" "Our stealth tech is holding," Cameron replied. "The aliens still seem unaware of our more advanced capabilities. The Spectre fleet remains undetected and in position around Earth and Mars." As they spoke, a priority communication came through from Luna Base. Colonel Daniel Zane's hologram flickered to life in the center of the war room. "General, we've just finished our analysis of the alien weapon signatures," he reported. "Dr. Morozov's team believes they can adapt our shields to withstand their attacks, at least for a short time." This was the moment Vance had been waiting for. He turned to President Ward's hologram, standing silently in the corner of the room. "Madam President, we have an opportunity here. Our stealth tech is holding, and we now have a defense against their weapons. If we strike now, we can end this conflict before it destroys our entire system." Ward's hologram flickered as she considered the options. The weight of the decision was evident in her eyes. The casualty reports. So many lives lost already. She paused, then straightened, her resolve visibly hardening. "You're right, General. We can't allow this to continue. You have my authorization. Intervene and end this conflict." Vance nodded sharply, then turned to the room full of Earth's top military minds. "You heard the President. It's time to show these aliens that they've made a grave mistake in bringing their war to our home." He pulled up a holographic display of the solar system, dotted with the positions of both alien fleets and the hidden human forces. "Admiral Cameron, I want the Spectre fleet in position to strike at both alien armadas simultaneously. Colonel Zane, prepare Luna Base's mass drivers. Dr. Morozov, get those shield modifications uploaded to all our ships immediately." As his orders were acknowledged and the room burst into activity, Vance allowed himself a grim smile. The aliens had gravely underestimated humanity's capabilities, and they were about to learn the consequences of that mistake. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden strengths were about to be revealed. On Mars, Governor Sokolov prepared to unveil the planet's true defenses. Beneath the red sands, massive cannons, far beyond what the aliens believed humans capable of, were charging up. In the asteroid belt, Chief Engineer Lau's team finalized their gravity manipulation network. With the push of a button, they could turn the entire belt into a swirling death trap for any ships caught within. On Venus, Dr. Morozov watched as her shield modifications were transmitted to every human ship and installation in the system. "Let's see them ignore us now," she muttered, a fierce pride in her voice. As the human forces prepared to reveal themselves and join the fray, the alien battle continued to rage, oblivious to the storm about to break upon them. The Thaldrakians and Velnari, so focused on their ancient grudges and advanced technology, had failed to realize a crucial fact. They had brought their war to the wrong neighborhood. Humanity, long underestimated and overlooked by the galactic community, was about to remind the universe why Earth was not a world to be trifled with. In hidden bases and cloaked ships throughout the solar system, men and women steeled themselves for the fight to come. The next few hours would determine the fate not just of humanity, but potentially of the entire galaxy. For if Earth could stand against not one but two advanced alien armadas, it would send shockwaves through the cosmic order. In the UEDF war room, General Vance took a deep breath, his hand hovering over the button that would launch humanity into an interstellar war. He looked around at his fellow leaders, seeing the same mix of determination and anxiety that he felt reflected in their eyes. "For Earth," he said simply, and pressed the button. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden fleets and defenses sprang to life. The trap was set, the die was cast. The true test of human ingenuity and courage was about to begin. As General Vance's finger depressed the button, a ripple of activity spread across the solar system. Hidden bases on moons and asteroids sprang to life, their camouflaged surfaces peeling away to reveal gleaming weapon arrays and launch bays. In the depths of space, massive structures that had lain dormant for years began to stir, their fusion engines igniting with a blue-white glare that outshone nearby stars. The Spectre fleet, Earth's most closely guarded secret, decloaked in perfect synchronization. Sleek, angular ships with matte black hulls that seemed to drink in the light appeared in strategic positions throughout the system. Their sudden manifestation sent shockwaves through both alien fleets, momentarily halting their battle as sensors struggled to make sense of the new arrivals. Admiral Cameron's voice crackled over the secure comms. "All ships, this is Cameron. You have your targets. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity is not to be messed with. Engage at will." The human counterattack began with a display of tactical precision that left both Thaladrakians and Velnari reeling. Spectre ships executed micro-jumps, appearing and disappearing in split-second intervals, unleashing barrages of exotic particle beams before vanishing again. The aliens' advanced shields, designed to withstand the most powerful known weapons, flickered and failed under the assault of human technology they had never encountered before. On the bridge of the Thaldrakian flagship, High Commander Zalthar watched in disbelief as his fleet's formations crumbled. "Impossible," he muttered, his crest of iridescent feathers flaring in agitation. "How can they have such technology?" His tactical officer, struggling to make sense of the sensor data, shook his head in confusion. "Exalted One, they're ships. They're using some kind of propulsion we've never seen before. It's as if they're manipulating the fabric of space-time itself." Meanwhile, on the Velnari command ship, Admiral Kalzor's four eyes widened as she watched the unfolding chaos. "These can't be the same primitives we detected earlier," she hissed, her tentacles writhing in agitation. "Scan the planet again. There must be some explanation." But there was no time for further analysis. The human attack pressed on, relentless and devastating in its precision. On Mars, Governor Sokolov gave the order to unveil the planet's true defenses. The red planet's surface seemed to ripple as massive cannons emerged from hidden underground silos. These were no ordinary weapons. Each barrel housed a miniaturized particle accelerator, capable of firing streams of near-light-speed projectiles with devastating accuracy. "Target the largest concentrations of enemy ships," Sokolov commanded, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around her. "Fire at will." The Martian defense grid came to life with a fury that caught the alien fleets completely off guard. Streams of hyper-accelerated particles lanced out across space, punching through shields and hulls as if they were made of paper. Thaladrakian and Velnari ships alike began to fall, their mighty warships reduced to expanding clouds of debris. In the asteroid belt, Chief Engineer Lau's gravity manipulation network activated. With a series of complex calculations, Lau and his team began to alter the orbits of thousands of asteroids simultaneously. The space between Mars and Jupiter became a swirling maelstrom of rock and ice, trapping entire squadrons of alien ships in a deadly dance of celestial bodies. "Redirect series," Lau ordered, his fingers flying across holographic controls. "Let's give our friends a proper welcome." The dwarf planet, nearly 1,000 kilometers in diameter, began to move with unnatural speed and precision. It barreled through the heart of the Thaldrakian fleet, its gravitational pull tearing ships apart and sending survivors scattering in panic. Near Venus, Dr. Morozov's modified shields were put to the test as a group of Velnari cruisers, fleeing the carnage in the inner system, opened fire on the human defenses there. The energy weapons that had torn through Thaldrakian shields like tissue paper splashed harmlessly against the shimmering barrier surrounding the Venusian outposts. "Shields holding at 98% capacity," one of Morozov's assistants reported, a note of awe in her voice. "We're not just deflecting their attacks, we're absorbing the energy." Morozov allowed herself a brief smile of triumph. "Excellent. Reroute the absorbed energy to the main cannon. Let's show them what happens when they pick a fight in our backyard." The surface of Venus rippled as a massive weapon platform rose from beneath the planet's toxic clouds. It charged with an ominous hum, drawing power not just from its own generators, but from the very attacks of the Velnari ships. When it fired, it was as if a new star had been born. A lance of pure energy shot out across the solar system, cutting through ship after ship, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. The Velnari cruisers, caught off guard by the sudden counterattack, attempted to regroup. But their formations, so effective against conventional enemies, proved woefully inadequate against the unpredictable and devastating human assault. In lunar orbit, the battle took a dire turn. A group of Thaldrakian destroyers, realizing the threat posed by human defenses, launched a desperate attack on the moon's largest outpost. Their weapons fire overwhelmed the station's shields, and for a heart-stopping moment, it seemed as if thousands of lives would be lost. But humanity's ingenuity shone through once again. As the station's outer hull began to breach, emergency force fields snapped into place, compartmentalizing the damage. Automated repair drones swarmed out, patching holes even as they formed. Colonel Daniel Zane, commanding the lunar defenses, didn't miss a beat. "Activate the mass drivers," he ordered, his voice calm despite the chaos around him. "Time to take out the trash." The moon's surface erupted as dozens of electromagnetic railguns, each the size of a skyscraper, emerged from hidden bunkers. These weapons, designed to launch payloads to the outer solar system, now turned their immense power against the attacking Thaldrakian ships. Projectiles accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed shot out from the lunar surface. The kinetic energy unleashed was staggering. Thaldrakian ships, even with their advanced shields, stood no chance. The first volley alone reduced half the attacking force to expanding clouds of plasma. As the battle raged on, the human forces began to push back against the alien invaders. The Spectre fleet, operating with unprecedented coordination, systematically targeted and eliminated alien ships that ventured too close to Earth. Advanced ECM suites confused alien targeting systems, while pinpoint strikes from stealth fighters disabled key systems on larger vessels. In the Kuiper Belt, long dormant defense platforms awakened. These massive structures, hidden among the icy bodies at the edge of the solar system, began to emit powerful gravitational fields. Alien ships attempting to flee found themselves caught in these artificial gravity wells, their engines straining futilely against forces they couldn't comprehend. Back in the inner system, a squadron of human ships executed a daring maneuver near Mercury. Using the planet's intense heat and radiation as cover, they launched a surprise attack on a Velnari battle group. The aliens, their sensors blinded by the solar interference, never saw the attack coming. Within minutes, the pride of the Velnari fleet was reduced to drifting wreckage. On Earth, in the depths of the Mariana Trench, a secret installation stirred to life. Massive gates opened in the ocean floor, and from the abyss rose a fleet of sleek biomechanical ships. These vessels, the product of reverse-engineered alien technology and cutting-edge human innovation, joined the fray with devastating effect. Their organic hulls adapted in real time to enemy attacks, while their weapons, a fusion of biological and technological systems, overwhelmed alien defenses with ease. In near-Earth orbit, a Velnari battle group that had been attempting to establish a blockade suddenly found itself under attack from all sides. Human ships seemed to materialize out of nowhere, their weapons tearing through the alien defenses with ruthless efficiency. Within minutes, the blockade was shattered, its remnants scattering in disarray. The space around Earth became a graveyard of alien ships. The Spectre fleet, now fully revealed, proved to be more than a match for the invaders. Their advanced propulsion systems allowed them to dance around the lumbering alien dreadnoughts, while their weapons, a mix of conventional and exotic technologies, systematically dismantled the enemy forces. On the bridges of both the Thaldrakian and Velnari flagships, the alien commanders watched in growing horror as their forces were systematically dismantled. Reports flooded in from all corners of the solar system, each more dire than the last. High Commander Zalthar, his crest of iridescent feathers flaring in agitation, turned to his second-in-command. "How is this possible?" he raged. "Their weapons, their tactics, they're beyond anything in our records." His tactical officer, struggling to keep up with the flood of incoming data, shook his head in disbelief. "Exalted One, it's not just their technology, their strategies. It's as if they've been preparing for this exact scenario for years." Admiral Kalzor of the Velnari, her four eyes wide with disbelief, struggled to comprehend the situation. "We've conquered 1,000 worlds," she muttered, her tentacles writhing in agitation. "How can these humans possess such power?" Her second-in-command, visibly shaken, reported, "Admiral, we're detecting energy signatures unlike anything we've ever encountered. Their ships are using some form of propulsion that defies our understanding of physics, and their defenses. It's as if they've studied our weapons and designed perfect countermeasures." As the alien leaders grappled with the shocking turn of events, the human forces pressed their advantage. The solar system, which had seemed ripe for conquest mere hours ago, had transformed into a deadly trap. And the prey, they realized with growing dread, had suddenly become the predator. In the asteroid belt, a group of Thaldrakian cruisers found themselves caught in an impossible situation. The very rocks around them seemed to come alive, swarming their ships like angry insects. Human-controlled drones, disguised as asteroids, attached themselves to the alien vessels, drilling through hulls and disabling critical systems. Near Jupiter, a wing of Velnari fighters attempted to use the gas giant's intense magnetic field to mask their approach on a human outpost on Ganymede. But as they entered the planet's upper atmosphere, they triggered a trap. Massive lightning bolts, far larger and more powerful than any natural phenomenon, lashed out from the planetary storm systems. The fighters, their shields useless against this unexpected attack, were vaporized in seconds. On Titan, Saturn's largest moon, Dr. Zoe Morales and her team of xenobiologists found themselves on the front lines of the conflict. As a Thaldrakian landing party attempted to establish a beachhead, Morales activated the moon's hidden defenses. The thick methane atmosphere, usually a hindrance to operations, became a weapon. Controlled ignitions created walls of flame that swept across the moon's surface, engulfing the alien invaders. Back on Earth, in the UEDF war room, General Vance watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. Holographic displays showed the tide turning decisively in humanity's favor, but he knew better than to celebrate too soon. "Admiral Cameron," he called out. "Status report on the Shadow Spear operation?" Cameron's hologram flickered to life beside him. "Operation proceeding as planned, General. Our stealth infiltrators have successfully breached both the Thaldrakian and Velnari flagships. They're making their way to the command centers now." Vance nodded. This was the most crucial and dangerous part of their strategy. While the main battle raged across the solar system, elite teams of human operatives had slipped aboard the alien command ships. Their mission, to capture the leaders of both fleets and bring this conflict to a decisive end. As the human counteroffensive continued to gain momentum, the alien forces found themselves increasingly outmatched and outmaneuvered. Ships that had once seemed invincible now fell to human weapons with alarming regularity. Tactics that had conquered countless worlds proved useless against an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move. In a desperate bid to turn the tide, a Thaldrakian battle group attempted to make a run for Earth itself, hoping to use the planet's population as leverage. But as they approached, they encountered a defense that defied belief. A shimmering energy field enveloped the entire planet, effortlessly deflecting their most powerful weapons. Unknown to the aliens, this planetary shield was the culmination of decades of research, combining human ingenuity with reverse-engineered alien technology. It stood as a testament to humanity's determination to protect their homeworld at all costs. As the battle reached its crescendo, it became clear to both the Thaldrakians and the Velnari that they had made a catastrophic error in judgment. The solar system they had dismissed as an easy target had revealed itself to be a fortress, defended by a species whose technological prowess and tactical acumen far exceeded their own. The alien leaders, watching helplessly as their mighty fleets were reduced to scattered remnants, began to realize the full extent of their miscalculation. They had come to this system seeing only what they expected to see, a primitive world ripe for exploitation. Instead, they had found a sleeping giant, one that they had foolishly awakened. As humanity's ships pressed their advantage, systematically eliminating the remaining alien resistance near Earth, the message was clear. This was not just a defense of home, it was a demonstration of power that would send shockwaves through the galaxy. The era of Earth being overlooked and underestimated was over. A new chapter in human history had begun, and the entire galaxy would soon feel its impact. As the initial shock of the human counterattack began to wear off, both the Thaldrakian and Velnari fleets attempted to regroup and mount a defense. However, the relentless assault from Earth's forces left them scrambling to adapt to tactics and technologies they had never encountered before. Admiral Cameron, aboard the UES Mirage, surveyed the holographic battle map with a keen eye. "It's time for Phase 2, he announced to his command staff. "Initiate Operation Umbra." Across the solar system, the human fleet began to split into smaller, more agile task forces. Each group adopted a different tactical approach, creating a multi-pronged assault that left the alien commanders struggling to respond effectively. Near Mars, a squadron of Earth's ships engaged their experimental Spectre drive systems. The vessels seemed to flicker in and out of existence, appearing at random locations around the Thaldrakian fleet. Each time they materialized, they unleashed a barrage of weapons fire before vanishing again, leaving the aliens firing desperately at empty space. High Commander Zalthar, his iridescent crest fully extended in agitation, barked orders on the bridge of his flagship. Reconfigure the sensor arrays. They must have some kind of cloaking technology we haven't encountered before. But even as his crew scrambled to comply, another human tactic was unfolding. A group of smaller Earth vessels suddenly accelerated to incredible speeds, their engines leaving trails of exotic particles in their wake. They weaved through the Thaldrakian formation with impossible precision, their weapon systems targeting critical points on the alien ships. As the Thaldrakians struggled to track these lightning-fast attackers, they failed to notice the real threat. The exotic particle trails left behind by the human ships began to interact with each other, forming a complex web of energy. Suddenly, the entire section of space occupied by the Thaldrakian fleet erupted in a cascade of subspace distortions. Thaldrakian ships found their shields fluctuating wildly, their weapon systems misfiring, and their communication networks filled with indecipherable static. In the span of a few minutes, a significant portion of their fleet had been effectively neutralized without a single direct hit. Meanwhile, the Velnari were facing challenges of their own. Admiral Kalzor watched in growing horror as her carefully orchestrated battle plans fell apart in the face of human ingenuity. A group of Earth ships had taken up position near Venus, using the planet's dense atmosphere as cover. Suddenly, they began launching what appeared to be simple kinetic projectiles. The Velnari sensors dismissed them as primitive weapons, easily deflected by their advanced shields. It was only when the projectiles were meters from their targets that they revealed their true nature. Each one split open, releasing a swarm of microscopic robots. These nanobots quickly spread across the hulls of the Velnari ships, interfacing with their systems and wreaking havoc from within. "Purge the systems," Kalzor screamed, her tentacles writhing in fury. "Shut down all non-essential functions." But it was too late. The nanobots had already infiltrated too deeply. Across her fleet, ships began to lose power, their engines sputtering out as life support systems flickered ominously. As both alien fleets reeled from these unexpected attacks, the main body of Earth's forces pressed their advantage. The human ships moved with a coordinated grace that spoke of countless hours of training and preparation. Every maneuver, every weapons deployment was precisely calculated for maximum effect. In the Kuiper Belt, a detachment of Thaldrakian ships attempted to regroup and launch a counteroffensive. But as they began to accelerate towards the inner system, they encountered yet another human surprise. The icy bodies around them suddenly came to life. What the aliens had dismissed as simple comets and asteroids revealed themselves to be camouflaged weapons platforms. A hail of graviton beams lanced out, catching the Thaldrakian ships in a crossfire from which there was no escape. Back near Earth, the Velnari launched a desperate attack on the planet's orbital defenses. Their remaining capital ships concentrated their fire on what they perceived to be a weak point in the human formation. For a moment, it seemed their gambit might pay off. Several Earth ships took heavy damage, their hulls breached by the powerful Velnari weapons. But then, the true nature of humanity's defense strategy revealed itself. The damaged ships, rather than retreating, moved closer to their attackers. As the Velnari watched in disbelief, the human vessels began to shed their outer layers. What had appeared to be crippled ships suddenly transformed into smaller, even more agile craft. These escape pods swarmed the Velnari capital ships, attaching themselves to hull and burrowing inside. Admiral Kalzor received frantic reports from across her fleet. "Internal breaches on multiple decks. Unknown entities boarding via the hull breaches. We can't hold them back." The tide of battle had well and truly turned. Both the Thaldrakians and Velnari found themselves fighting a losing battle against an enemy that seemed to have an endless array of tricks up their sleeve. In the UEDF war room, General Vance allowed himself a small smile of satisfaction. "Initiate the final phase," he ordered. "It's time to end this." Across the solar system, the human fleet began to converge on the alien flagships. But even as the main battle raged, small, stealthy craft were maneuvering into position, These were the elite infiltration teams, tasked with the most dangerous and crucial part of the operation. Aboard the UES Wraith, Lieutenant Joshua Cooper ran through final checks with his team. They were the tip of the spear, chosen for their unique skills and unwavering courage. Their mission, to infiltrate the Thaldrakian flagship and capture High Commander Zalthar. "Remember," Cooper briefed his squad, "we're not here for revenge. Our job is to end this war as quickly as possible, with as little further loss of life as we can manage. We go in fast, we hit hard, and we get out with the target. Any questions?" The determined faces of his team told him everything he needed to know. They were ready. As the Wraith approached the Thaldrakian flagship, it activated its advanced cloaking system. The ship seemed to fade from existence, becoming invisible not just to eyes, but to every sensor the aliens possessed. With practiced precision, the Wraith maneuvered alongside the much larger alien vessel. Magnetic grapples shot out, securing the smaller ship to the flagship's hull. Cooper and his team, clad in sleek exosuits that enhanced their strength and speed, prepared to breach. Cutting torches flared to life, slicing through the alien hull with surprising ease. Within moments, the infiltration team was inside, moving swiftly through the cavernous corridors of the Thaldrakian ship. Meanwhile, a similar scene was unfolding aboard the Velnari flagship. Captain Damien Vale led his team through the twisting, organic-looking passageways of the alien vessel. Unlike the Thaldrakian ship, which had been breached by brute force, the infiltration of the Velnari flagship had required a more subtle approach. Vale and his team had used a daring technique, allowing themselves to be swallowed by the Velnari's matter reclamation system. Their specially designed suits had protected them from the process, allowing them to slip aboard undetected. Now both teams raced against time to reach their objectives. They encountered sporadic resistance from the alien crews, but their advanced weapons and tactics gave them a significant edge. On the bridge of the Thaldrakian flagship, High Commander Zalthar was growing increasingly desperate. "Where are they coming from?" he raged, as reports of the human infiltrators flooded in. "How did they get aboard?" His questions were answered moments later as the bridge doors exploded inward. Lieutenant Cooper and his team stormed in, their weapons trained on the alien leaders. "High Commander Zalthar," Cooper announced, his voice firm and unwavering. "By the authority of the United Earth Government, you are hereby placed under arrest for crimes against humanity and violations of galactic law." Aboard the Velnari flagship, Captain Vale and his squad faced a different challenge. The organic nature of the Velnari ship meant that traditional breaching tactics were useless against the living bulkheads. Thinking quickly, Vale deployed a specially designed bioelectric pulse. The energy surge momentarily stunned the ship's living systems, causing the membrane-like doors to relax. As the barrier to the bridge fell away, Vale led the charge. "Admiral Kalzor," he called out, his weapon trained on the Velnari leader. "Your fleet is defeated. Surrender now, and we can end this without further bloodshed." In both flagships, a tense standoff ensued. The alien leaders, so recently confident in their superiority, now found themselves at the mercy of the very species they had dismissed as primitive. As the human infiltrators secured their high-value targets, the battle outside reached its climax. With their command structures in chaos, both the Thaldrakian and Velnari fleets began to falter. Earth ships pressed their advantage, their coordinated attacks systematically dismantling what remained of the alien resistance. Ships that had once seemed invincible crumbled under the onslaught of human weaponry and tactics. In the war room, General Vance received the news he had been waiting for. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we've received confirmation. Both alien leaders are in custody. The infiltration teams were successful." Vance nodded, allowing himself a moment of relief before focusing on the task at hand. "Send the message to all human forces," he ordered. "Operation Checkmate is complete. Cease fire and begin rescue operations for any survivors." As the sounds of battle faded across the solar system, a new challenge presented itself. The remnants of two of the galaxy's most powerful fleets now floated dead in space, their crews alternating between confusion, fear, and awe at the power humanity had displayed. Aboard the captured flagships, the human infiltration teams began the delicate process of securing their prisoners and gathering vital intelligence. The data they collected would be crucial in the coming days, as humanity prepared to make its debut on the galactic stage. Lieutenant Cooper, his mission accomplished, took a moment to look out a viewport at the Earth floating serenely in the distance. The blue marble, so often dismissed as insignificant by spacefaring races, had just proven itself to be anything but. As rescue operations began and diplomats prepared for the inevitable negotiations, one thing was clear: the galaxy would never be the same again. Humanity, long overlooked and underestimated, had arrived on the cosmic scene with a bang, and they were here to stay. The captured alien leaders, still reeling from the sudden reversal of their fortunes, were swiftly transferred to secure human vessels. As they were led away, the magnitude of their miscalculation began to dawn on them. They had come to this system seeing only what they expected to see: a primitive world ripe for exploitation. Instead, they had found a sleeping giant, one that they had foolishly awakened. In the aftermath of the battle, as human ships began the process of securing disabled alien vessels and rescuing survivors, the true scale of Earth's victory became apparent. Not only had they successfully defended their home, but they had done so in a way that would send shockwaves through the galactic community. Admiral Cameron, surveying the aftermath from the bridge of the UES Mirage, allowed himself a small smile. "Send word to Earth," he ordered. "The solar system is secure. We await further instructions." As the message was relayed, the crews of Earth's ships took a moment to absorb the magnitude of what they had accomplished. They had faced two of the most powerful fleets in the known galaxy and emerged victorious. It was a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and the unshakable determination to protect their home. But even as they celebrated their victory, new challenges loomed on the horizon. How would the wider galaxy react to this demonstration of human power? What consequences would this victory bring? And perhaps most importantly, how would humanity use its newfound position on the galactic stage? For now, those questions would have to wait. There were wounded to tend to, prisoners to process, and a solar system to secure. But one thing was certain: the galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. The era of humanity being overlooked and underestimated was over. A new chapter in human history had begun, and its impact would be felt across the cosmos for generations to come. As the dust settled across the solar system, the full extent of humanity's victory became clear. The once mighty Thaldrakian and Velnari fleets lay in ruins, scattered like cosmic debris. Earth's forces, displaying unprecedented coordination and tactical prowess, began the process of securing their hard-won triumph. Admiral Cameron, standing tall on the bridge of the UES Mirage, surveyed the holographic battle map. His voice, steady and resolute, carried across the command deck. "Begin rescue operations. Prioritize life support for damaged vessels, both ours and theirs. We're not just victors today. We're setting the standard for how an advanced civilization conducts itself." Across the solar system, Earth's ships moved with purpose. Crews worked tirelessly to secure disabled alien vessels and rescue survivors. The advanced medical technology of the human fleet, once hidden from prying eyes, now saved the lives of those who had, mere hours ago, sought Earth's destruction. On Mars, Governor Sokolov oversaw the conversion of military installations into emergency medical centers. Her announcement echoed through the facilities. "They may have been our enemies, but they are sentient beings in need. We will show them humanity's true strength, not just in battle, but in compassion." This sentiment reverberated across human outposts. On Titan, Dr. Morales and her team of xenobiologists worked feverishly to adapt their medical knowledge to alien physiologies. Their efforts, born from a genuine desire to preserve life regardless of origin, stood in stark contrast to the invaders' initial callousness. Meanwhile, aboard the captured Thaldrakian and Velnari flagships, the final act of this cosmic drama unfolded. Lieutenant Cooper and Captain Vale, leading their infiltration teams, had successfully secured their high-value targets. Now came the delicate task of extracting the alien leaders without further bloodshed. On the Thaldrakian flagship's bridge, High Commander Zalthar found himself in an unimaginable position, a prisoner on his own vessel. His iridescent crest, once proudly erect, now lay flat against his head in defeat. "Do you have any idea of the consequences?" "The power I wield in the galactic community," he sputtered, rage and disbelief coloring his voice. Lieutenant Cooper met the alien leader's gaze steadily. "With all due respect, High Commander," he replied, his voice calm but firm. "I don't think you grasp the situation. Your fleet is defeated, your invasion thwarted. More importantly, you've violated numerous tenets of galactic law. We're not just defending our home, we're upholding principles you've transgressed." Zalthar's eyes widened, uncertainty flickering across his features. "Galactic law? But how could you possibly?" Cooper allowed himself a small smile. "There's a lot about us you don't know, High Commander. I suggest you save your questions for the appropriate authorities." A similar scene played out aboard the Velnari flagship. Admiral Calzor, her four eyes darting nervously between Captain Vale and the human soldiers securing the bridge, struggled to comprehend her sudden reversal of fortune. "This defies all logic," she muttered, tentacles writhing in agitation. "We are the Velnari. We do not fall to primitives." Vale, his expression professionally detached, replied evenly, "I think it's time to reevaluate your definition of primitive, Admiral. Your arrogance has cost you dearly. But rest assured, you'll be treated fairly and in accordance with galactic standards of justice." As the alien leaders were secured and prepared for transfer, General Vance received word of the successful captures. Standing in the UEDF war room, surrounded by holographic displays showing the battle's aftermath, he allowed himself a moment of quiet satisfaction before issuing his next orders. "Prepare the prisoners for immediate transport," he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of history. "We're taking them directly to the Galactic Council. It's time to show the cosmos that Earth is ready to take its place on the interstellar stage." The news of this decision sent shockwaves through the captured alien crews. Whispered conversations and stunned glances were exchanged as the implications sank in. These humans, dismissed as insignificant, not only possessed the military might to defeat two of the galaxy's most powerful fleets, but also had knowledge of, and apparently standing with, the Galactic Council itself. As preparations for the journey began, humanity's true level of technological advancement became increasingly apparent to their vanquished foes. The Spectre fleet, now fully revealed, showcased propulsion systems and weapons technology that rivaled or even surpassed anything in the Thaldrakian or Velnari arsenals. Zalthar and Calzor, now aboard a heavily guarded human transport vessel, watched in stunned silence as Earth's ships effortlessly maneuvered through the debris field of the battle. The precision and speed with which the humans navigated spoke of a level of technological sophistication that neither alien leader had believed possible. During a routine systems check, Zalthar overheard two human engineers discussing the finer points of faster-than-light travel. The casual way they debated theories he had believed far beyond Earth's grasp sent a chill down his spine. How long, he wondered, had the humans possessed this knowledge? And what else were they hiding? Calzor, for her part, found herself begrudgingly impressed by the efficiency and professionalism of the human crew. Despite the circumstances, she was treated with a level of respect she hadn't expected. Medical attention was provided without hesitation, dietary needs were accommodated, and at no point was she made to feel like a trophy of war. As the transport ship prepared to depart the solar system, escorted by a formidable contingent of Earth's finest vessels, the alien leaders felt the last vestiges of their arrogance crumble. The humans hadn't just defeated them in battle, they had outmaneuvered them on a cosmic scale. In a moment of quiet, Calzor turned to Zalthar, her voice barely above a whisper. "How could we have been so blind? They were ready for us, for all of us." Zalthar, his proud bearing now a shadow of its former self, could only nod in silent agreement. The humans had not just defeated them. They had shattered the very foundations of their belief in their own superiority. On the bridge of the escort flagship, Admiral Cameron stood watching as the last of the Earth ships took formation around the transport carrying the alien leaders. Beside him, General Vance gazed out at the star-studded expanse, his expression thoughtful. "It's not the debut we planned," Cameron mused, "but I'd say humanity made quite an impression." Vance nodded, a hint of a smile playing at his lips. "Indeed, but this is just the beginning. We've shown the galaxy what we're capable of in war. Now comes the real challenge, showing them what we can do in peace." As the fleet prepared to make the jump to faster-than-light travel, Cameron turned to his communications officer. "Send the message," he ordered, his voice carrying the weight of the moment. The officer nodded, and a broadcast began, transmitted in multiple galactic languages. "Attention all ships. This is Admiral Cameron of the United Earth Defense Force. We stand at the threshold of a new era for humanity. Today, we have proven ourselves not just as defenders of our home, but as a force for justice in the galaxy. Let our actions from this point forward reflect the very best of what humanity can be. We go now to the Galactic Council, not as conquerors, but as equals, ready to take our place among the stars." As the message echoed across the communications channels, the reactions among the alien prisoners and their escorts were a mixture of shock, disbelief, and dawning respect. The casual mention of the Galactic Council, the confidence with which the humans spoke of taking their place in the galactic community, it all pointed to a level of preparation and knowledge that defied their previous assumptions. Zalthar, listening to the broadcast from his holding cell, felt a final piece of his worldview shatter. "They knew," he murmured, more to himself than to anyone else. "All this time, they knew about us, about the Council, about everything. And we never had a clue." Calzor, in an adjacent cell, could only nod in mute agreement. The magnitude of their miscalculation was becoming clearer with each passing moment. As the fleet began its journey, the image of Earth's ships escorting the captured alien vessels served as a powerful symbol. Humanity, long overlooked and underestimated, had not just defended its home, but had catapulted itself onto the galactic stage in spectacular fashion. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter as the fleet made its way out of the solar system. Earth, once thought to be an insignificant blue marble on the edge of an unremarkable galaxy, had proven itself to be anything but. As the last ship cleared the heliopause, marking the official boundary of the solar system, Admiral Cameron allowed himself a small smile. "Set course for the Galactic Council," he ordered. "It's time to introduce ourselves properly to the neighborhood." With a flash of energy that momentarily outshone the distant sun, the human fleet, with their alien prisoners in tow, vanished into the depths of space. Hey there again. I'm glad you've come so far. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to hit the like button and the subscribe button. This is really important to the channel. Really important. And I have one more thing for you. I've chosen another video for you to watch. Just click the card here, or here if you want the whole playlist. See you there.